Okay, everyone, if you have your seat. Renee VanNett is our next guest. Just to reiterate some of the ground rules, it's okay to leave and come during the time periods. Refrain from cell phone calling, texting, those different things. Be respectful of the speakers, everybody is. You've had fantastic questions, and all I can do is I'm just so tempted to jump in and answer them myself. But that's not my role. Renee VanNett, pleasure. Would you please spend 2 minutes and tell us about yourself? What district?
Well, I'm Renee VanNett. I'm running for 4th District City Council. I live in the district in Lincoln Park. I have a foster home for Native children. I'm from northern Minnesota originally. I moved down. Native people kind of do this whole migrating system. We did that and moved here from the cities when I was about 10. And then went to the public schools here and graduated from Concordia University finally after a million years of college. That was a year. Right now I work at Feminist Action Collective as an employment navigator. I serve on several different boards and do some different work in the community at the level of participating on boards and being that voice that people need. Why I'm running, I think I ran in 2015 for school board, and I believed that children needed a voice, and that didn't feel like that was happening then. I was pissed off about it. That's why I ran, because my kids were being left behind, and that showed me, even on a broader scale, that that still happens, and that happens to people underrepresented voices, and it happens in a bigger way. And so I started to do some education on what that means, what it looks like, and where can I use my voice the best. And so I do citizen review board work, civil service work with the city of Duluth. Community policing is huge for me. Safety, public safety, environment. So all those really, really great things that, well, I think is great. And then the district kind of is talking about the people that need that. So those are kind of some of the things I work on currently. So, thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Why don't we just later just continue on with the next question, which would be Jen and Ashley. Okay, go ahead, Charlotte.
Hi, Renee. Charlotte Gardner from Concords, Democratic Socialists of America. And this question is from Laura Birnbaum and a couple other community members. Can you speak to inclusivity and your efforts to address concerns raised by the disability community, which is the largest minority group and intersects across race, ethnicity, age, gender identity, class, and sexual orientation?
In community action, I got a letter from a random person who lives outside of the district talking about that I didn't include people with disabilities enough and that I should do that. And so I took that letter and put it right in my little pocket and thought, well, this is what I'm going to do. And diversity is bigger than just what that is, and I realize, understand that's a bigger thing. But inclusion and diversity is definitely something I'm in every single day, 24/7, all the time. That's my life. That's how it works. Including people is including everybody, including all of us. In some of the civil service work, in the police work, and creating nonprofits and working on boards, that's always the main focus. That's always what I feel like I work really well doing. And being the only Native face at the table proves that. It's always that. So being inclusive is something on my mind, and it's something that I work towards. And I think that in this group as well, the inclusivity should have been more of a priority than it got on the flyer or on the questionnaire and it didn't. And so I'm bringing it up because it's not fair that diversity inclusion isn't a question, it wasn't, and was argued or talked about, however. That needs to be there. It needs to happen, not just for me, but for everybody.
Thank you, Renee. Libby Ben from Clean Water.
Renee, in your questionnaire, you mentioned that you want to review the PolyNet further once you have access and a seat at the table. Do you believe that Duluth City Council has a role to play on the PolyNet matter, and if so, what?
I don't know that it's my job to do that at this point. I'm not sure. But if it is, I'll check into it and see what I can do and get educated about it. So at this point, and how I answered my questionnaire is basically true to the point. I won't lie about none of that or try to fathom anything. If I don't understand it, I don't get it. I work to find out if I need to as a 4th District counselor. And if that's my job, I'll figure it out and work on it.
Thank you. Ashley and Jim. Feminist Action.
Hi, Renee. I'm Ashley. What should be the relationship between the City of Duluth and the Duluth Public Schools? How can the city support students and families in the school system?
It would be ideal for the governments to have some kind of working relationship with each other to work on different aspects there. Relationships is a big word. Relationships is a hard word. I think that that needs to be strengthened, stronger, and worked with each other together. I think our kids, we are the kids are definitely the future of who we are. We're not all going to be here there either, but at least for my Native Duluth kids, they need to have the best education possible, and that's why I'm sitting here doing this, because they don't have that. I didn't grow up having that. My mom didn't do this, so I didn't know how to do this. So my girls will know how to do this. That's the correlation. That's the direct relationship between, at least from my perspective, on how the government or how the school district or how all these different people should work together and do better for us all.
Thank you, Renee. Mike.
All right, Mike Mayo from Our Revolution. So how would you define the term inclusive, and how will you strive to be inclusive throughout all steps of the process as a city council?
I describe inclusive meaning everybody, meaning all, meaning even us in the 4th District, who always seems to get forgotten. I describe that in race, economic, all those things. I describe that way, and how would I do that? I would be mindful about how I'm making decisions. Even the decisions I make as a counselor, I would make sure that people in my district know why, even if they don't like it, or if the chamber, if I make a decision they don't like and they know why, and if they don't like it, at least they know why. And I'm always good for sharing my perspective or sharing why I did it. Circling back to the community, I'm a huge community person, and believe in talking to people even if we don't agree. That's okay. But at least you know why. So I describe being inclusive is including people, everybody.
Thank you, Renee. Charlotte.
Thank you. Renee, this question is actually a combination of 2 questions from DSA members Joan Linsky and Mary Jo Conley. It's regarding your socialism question or your response. Being that you think socialism, an economic system, is not friendly or open to Indigenous peoples, and you cannot speak to what it means to our society, do you support public ownership of the water and gas utility and the Duluth steam plant? And do you support our local fire and police departments and public schools?
I definitely support all those entities. My point with the socialism, what I said in socialism, it's true, right? So those points are very true about how Indigenous folks, or at least Native folks that I know, view socialism. Never been fair, it's never been straight with us consistently across the board.
Okay.
So yes, I support the fire folks, for sure. Do you wanna follow up?
Okay, yeah, I have to follow up with this because there's 2 parts to the question. So if you support those entities, then they are based on the principles of socialism. Also, are not Indigenous cultures based on cooperation, sharing, and the common good? Because if that's true, why do you think socialism is not friendly or open to Indigenous peoples? And then also, how have Indigenous people suffered through socialism?
Excuse me, this question isn't appropriate at all. Are you trying to white-explain what socialism is to indigenous cultures, ma'am? Is that what this
I'm
happens?
sorry, hold on. Our facilitator asked a question.
This question is from someone
And,
else. I can't explain the question. It's just
Would
a
you like to
question.
ask it, Sherman? Would you like to follow up?
I don't mind answering. This question is from two people in the audience, and I am just simply asking the question. That's how we do things here.
I think Renee.
I'm going to pass that. I don't think that's fair. I could leave here with that kind of thing happening here. And I pondered that if I would get that question about how would I be perceived as a person of color, Native person in these systems. And then I feel like I have to explain my culture to folks and explain that. I'm not sure if that is what I really need to do here. So.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Libby?
Pause at the end, please.
Let's see. So every copper sulfide mine experience shows us that they have all failed, even when they've told communities that they would not fail. And each of those companies has touted their safety plan. Do you believe PolyMet poses a threat to Duluth, and are you open to the idea of an evidentiary hearing?
In general, my culture says about how I culturally will answer that is personally, I believe those things. And I'm the steward of the land, the steward of the earth and the water, personally. I do believe that. And I, like the first answer I talked about before, I can't answer that if I don't know the information that I need to know. So back to that first answer, the way I answered it, that I can answer it if I don't get it. So I need to figure it out and move forward on that.
Thank you, Renee. Shannon Ashley from Feminist Action.
Feminist Action Collective has a campaign to achieve 50% women leadership by 2025 in the city of Duluth. What steps have you taken and or would you take if elected in the future to help FAC achieve its goal for women to hold 50% of elected positions in Duluth by 2025?
I do that all the time. Women and leadership helps women move positions of power, move over and create more leaders if we can get different folks in the room that way. I helped with, this isn't superior, but Jenny Van Sickle's campaign. I talked with her before she ran long ago, and I went in 2015 and talked to her group, and then she was at Community Action. So helped with doing that, helping leadership together, and then moved over so that to support different folks doing that. I'm all about that. Women and children and girls definitely need to be in these positions making decisions best that they're able and have mentors and have people to teach them to do that. All over that.
Thank you, Renee. Mike Mayo from our Revolution.
All right. So, what do you see, and you can choose 1 to 3, as the 1 to 3 most pressing issues facing the city of Duluth today?
So in public safety, I think at least in where I live or an area I'm from, public safety is super huge. I know that there's a lot of other things going on, but I see, from the perspective I see of, definitely some public safety work.
Would you like to have more priorities?
What I'm actually running as is public safety, employment issues, and equitability, or accessibility. Sorry. Accessibility in the 4th district means knowing who is your counselor, knowing who to figure out how to talk to them, have access to them, to figure out who's their best, how to best navigate that. So those 3 things are what I'm currently working on are important, at least to me.
Thank you, Renee. Charlie Gardner from PSA.
Thank you. Renee, in order of greatest to least importance, how would you rank the following when voting or supporting a political candidate? Person, policy, or party? How would you rank them?
Probably policy, what needs to come get done. Party and person. Just thinking off my head.
So, one is
1, 2, 3.
policy.
Yeah.
And
duty, policy, person.
Okay, thank you.
Living Beth from Clean Water.
How would you address sexism and disproportionate cyberbullying facing female leaders who are holding local office?
I would support and talk and reach out to them, see if there's anything I can do to help them. I would talk to them about their options or things they're dealing with or how they're feeling. The resources in the community, if they need something further, there's different community partners that we can talk with or share their ideas with or whatever. Reach out to them, see what they need, and then figure out how to do that. I don't feel like I could go on their media and do anything for that way, but just kind of supporting the individual.
Thank you, Mike. From our Revolution.
So on the questionnaire, we had a question about the $15 minimum wage in Duluth. And you did explain that you would be supportive of the concept. And I just wanted to know if you wanted to explain any more your position about the $15 minimum wage or an increase in the minimum wage in general on a local level.
Ideally, I would support that. Of course, people need to have living wage. And I'm not sure if we could do that at the local level. And if that's a federal thing, that's something way out of my hands. But if it is something I can do at this level, I'm advocating for that. I would work on doing that and supporting those initiatives.
Charlotte Gardner from DSA.
Thank you. You might have answered this question, but I think there's a little more to know about it. It's a polymath question from DSA. And the question is, even though DNR is encouraged to weigh in on whether there should be an evidentiary hearing to find out and learn the risks of granting a permit, you said on your questionnaire you wouldn't ask for or support others' requests or vote for a resolution calling for an evidentiary hearing. And then you also stated you didn't want to, you want to know how safe open pit copper mining is and want to work on safety standards. But it sounded like you wanted to do that after the permit happened. So could you clarify that, please?
The questionnaire, I said that I wouldn't support it. I wrote no to all of that because I don't understand that, and I don't think at this point it's a council's job to do that. So I said no to it.
And then the follow-up to that is, why do you believe it's not the councilor's job?
Because I'm
to
unsure
do that?
at this point if it is or not.
Okay, thank you.
Libby? Ashley and Jim?
We have one more. This came from one of the members, in fact, because people of color and low-income people are disproportionately affected by environmental degradation. How will you address this disparity in the city? Because people of color and low-income people are disproportionately affected by environmental degradation, how will you address this disparity in the city?
Right. That seems so. I'm not sure of the concept there, so I will pass on that for now.
Mike?
We're
Got any questions?
Yeah, we're good.
Good job. Anybody out from the audience? We've got 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
Would you be able to expand on what you mean by public safety? You use that term, and I'm not sure what that means. Expand on it.
Sure. Public safety to me, I worked with the Citizen Review Board in Duluth. I've worked with the police department for probably 10 years in a volunteer capacity, helping the community and create those stronger relationships between the police department and specifically low-income folks, people of color, because we have a really, really low trust rate with the police department in general. But public safety also includes fire. I've seen my sister had an amputation, and the guys from the fire department came in and just treated her like a real human being. That impressed me. I thought, wow, these guys are really cool. We figure out who they are and talk to them and stuff. So public safety, and then where I live in Lincoln Park, constant. There's constant things going on. I live right on 2nd Street and 27th there. So it's really super busy, and people need safety. they need some safety there. So that's kind of, and I was serving on a public safety team with the city of Duluth and tried to help people feel calmer about things that are going on. So just trying to address things that way.
One more question? Yes.
On the question about socialism. But and I really do want to understand your viewpoint. So I guess I'm trying to think of a way to ask it in a way that is respectful. So here's my question is, what does community mean to you?
Okay. Community is a holistic point of view, inclusive of everybody, including all people. From my cultural standpoint, it encompasses the whole community. If I eat, everybody eats kind of thinking and that kind of work. So that's how we view socialism, or not even socialism, I can't speak about that, but community, it includes everybody.
Mike?
Hi, Renee. Thanks for coming. Do you personally believe that women of color should also vote, prioritize women and people of color when voting for leadership roles?
If they deserve the seat or if they deserve the position, I personally believe the person who deserves it should be in. That don't prioritize it based on being a person of color. And because I'm a person of color, I wouldn't vote somebody in just because they're a person of color. That's not just.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could, seeing as how you support, seeing as you stated that you do support single-payer universal health care, and you are also a supporter at whatever level you could be of $15 minimum wage, I was wondering if you could share with us who you supported in the 2016 presidential primary and why.
Sure. For the presidential race, I was the SD7 chair, the DFL SD7 chair at the time, and I supported who was on the ticket. I'm not a Bernie or a Hillary person. I am a Duluth person. This is what we do in Duluth. We support each other. Furthermore, when I was in Washington, D.C. doing water work, I was talking to Keith Ellison about the same thing. He said, "Girl, I'm going to come down and talk to you." And I was like, yes, that's what we're going to do. So a Duluth person, really like that idea about being about Duluth, being about what we're doing. So Hillary was on the ticket, she got it, that's what I voted for. Oh. Between, Hillary.
Thank you, Renee. You got 2 minutes if you would like to wrap up your comments.
Just ending, I just want to say thank you everybody for being here and doing this really great work to put this stuff together. I appreciate that. Comments and questions were really thought out and thoughtful. You may not like or you may like some of the stuff that I have to say, and that's okay. I'm still going to move forward, still gunning, still working, and that's just kind of how this is working for me. I appreciate all these different styles of management, all these different styles of work, and just want to end with saying thank you for letting me be here.